Okay, so imagine this. You're a soldier, right? And you're in the middle of the Vietnam War.
Oh, wow.
Surrounded by jungle.
Yeah.
You're on high alert, obviously.
Right.
Your senses are totally just sharpened by this constant threat of danger.
Yeah, I bet.
And then you see it.
Hmm.
This hulking figure, like 6 feet tall.
Wow.
And it's covered in reddish hair. Moving with like this almost eerie intelligence.
Huh. That's creepy.
That's the kind of encounter that we're going to be diving into today.
Okay.
We're going to be exploring the mystery of Vietnam's rock apes.
The rock apes.
Yeah, have you heard about this?
You know, I've heard little bits and pieces.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Yeah, well, so what makes it even more intriguing is we're not talking about just like a handful of reports.
Right.
We have tons of accounts from both American and Viet Cong soldiers.
Oh, wow. So both sides.
Both sides, yeah.
That's really interesting.
Describing these really similar encounters with these creatures.
During the war?
Yeah, throughout the whole war.
And
And it wasn't just fleeting glimpses in the shadows or anything.
oh, so they really got a good look.
Yeah, they often got close enough to describe very specific details.
Okay, so like what kind of details?
Like their long limbs, the way they moved,
Hmm.
even the fact that they were often seen carrying their young...
Like babies.
Yeah, like babies.
Wow.
So, and that's one of the things that I think is really interesting is like the consistency across the reports.
Right. Because if it was just one person, you'd be like, okay, maybe they were seeing things.
Exactly. It seems like, these were prolonged encounters.
Yeah.
And like they really left a lasting impression on these people.
I bet.
Some of the reports even mentioned the apes throwing rocks, almost like as a warning
Really?
or a defensive maneuver.
So they weren't afraid of the soldiers.
Yeah, it seemed like they were aware, they were intelligent.
That's wild.
They're, not afraid to protect themselves.
That's fascinating. It really is.
Yeah.
It really like challenges what we think we know about, the natural world.
Totally.
And it raises the question, what were they actually seeing?
Yeah, right. Like, what was it?
Yeah.
So let's start with like the most obvious explanation.
Okay.
Like, could they have been misidentifying, known animals?
Sure.
Something that's already native to the Vietnamese jungle.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
I mean, so the first thought, of course, was orangutans.
Yeah, orangutans.
Right.
It makes sense.
I mean, they're large, they're ape-like.
Yeah.
But there's a big problem with that.
What's that?
Orangutans have been extinct in Vietnam for thousands of years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there's just no way
Wow.
that like a viable population
Yeah.
could have just been hiding out there undetected
Right.
for that long.
Okay, so orangutans are out.
Yeah.
What about some other kind of primate species?
Right.
I mean, there are gibbons in Vietnam, right?
Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
So the white-cheeked gibbon, okay, that was considered a possible candidate, especially since some soldiers described seeing like smaller rock apes.
Right, so maybe like babies or...
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And they might have mistaken them, for young ones.
Oh, that's interesting.
So
maybe just a case of mistaken identity.
yeah.
Kind of fueled by just the chaos and stress of war.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
But even that has its limitations, I think.
Okay, how so?
Well, the size discrepancy is pretty significant.
Oh, really?
I mean, white-cheeked gibbons are way smaller
Okay.
than these, like, 6-foot creatures that were being described.
Wow, that's a big difference.
It is.
Yeah.
And then there's the behavior, throwing rocks. That's not really typical gibbon behavior.
Right. So it doesn't quite add up?
No, not really.
Okay, so we've kind of hit a roadblock here.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't a known species,
Right.
what other explanations have been put forward?
Okay.
Like, did anybody actually go looking for these rock apes?
They...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So in 1974, the general of the Vietnam People's Army,
Okay.
he was really intrigued by all these reports,
Yeah.
and he ordered an expedition to try and capture a specimen
Oh, wow.
for research.
So they really wanted to find out what was going on.
Yeah, they wanted to know.
Yeah.
What's the deal with these rock apes?
And did they find anything?
They didn't.
Oh, no.
Nope. The expedition came back empty-handed. Which, just adds another layer to this whole mystery.
It really does.
It seems like these rock apes were really good at avoiding detection.
Yeah, even a dedicated search party.
Yeah, even a dedicated search party.
Oh.
But that wasn't the only attempt to investigate.
It wasn't, no.
Okay. I think you're talking about a Vietnamese professor.
Oh, yeah.
Who found something really interesting.
Yeah, I read about that.
Yeah.
There was something about footprints.
Yeah, you're remembering, right?
Okay, yeah, tell me about that.
Right. He was like this Vietnamese professor specialized in primates.
Mm-hmm.
He got really interested in this whole rock ape thing.
Right.
And he did his own investigations, went out to the areas with the most sightings, all on his own.
Wow.
Yeah, and guess what he found?
Footprints, right?
Exactly, footprints.
Wow, that's so cool.
They weren't human, obviously.
Right.
And they were way bigger than any primate they knew about in that area. So he, like, carefully made casts of them, you know, with cement.
That's really interesting because it's like physical evidence.
Right. It's not just stories anymore.
Yeah, you can actually point to it and be like, hey, look, something was here. Something you don't know about.
Yeah, it makes you think, right, that there's definitely something unexplained going on.
Yeah, something that doesn't fit, you know, in our little boxes of animal classifications.
Totally.
So, okay, we've got these eyewitness accounts, a failed expedition, and now footprints.
Right.
But we still don't know what these rock apes are. Can we at least figure out what they're not?
Well, some people think we're dealing with a brand new species.
Yeah.
But others have different ideas.
Okay, like what?
One theory is, get this, hallucinations.
Hallucinations. You mean like the soldiers weren't really seeing it?
It sounds crazy, right?
Yeah.
But think about it. The Vietnam War.
Right.
That was a crazy time. Super stressful.
Definitely.
Soldiers under pressure, danger everywhere, no sleep, you know, just constant strain.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Plus, there was a lot of marijuana use back then, you know?
Oh, yeah, among the soldiers.
Right. So that could definitely mess with how they were seeing things.
So like altered states of consciousness, maybe seeing things that weren't there?
It's possible, right? Especially on top of all that stress.
Makes sense.
So, yeah, some people think that's what was going on.
Hallucinations. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What other theories are out there?
Well, there's another one. This one's kind of cool.
Okay.
What if these creatures are like a hidden species totally native to Vietnam? And they've just stayed under the radar all this time.
Like a real-life cryptid.
Exactly, something out of a movie.
That would be so cool.
Right, and it would explain why we don't have any fossils or anything.
Yeah, because they've just been chilling, hidden in the jungle.
Yeah, perfectly camouflaged. Nobody knows they're there.
And then the war happens, all that bombing and everything.
Right, disrupts their whole world.
Forces them out in the open.
Exactly.
And that's when the soldiers see them.
Bingo.
And then, once the war's over, the jungle grows back.
They disappear again, back into hiding.
Wow, that's a really cool theory.
I know, right?
But how would we even prove that?
That's the problem.
Yeah.
There are still so many landmines in those areas.
Oh, right. It's too dangerous.
Yeah, you can't just go wandering around there.
So those areas where the sightings happened are basically off limits.
Pretty much.
So we're stuck, huh?
It's frustrating, but also kind of amazing.
Yeah, it's like the jungle's keeping its secrets.
Right. It's a good reminder to be respectful, you know?
Of the environment and everything that's happened there.
Exactly.
Maybe we don't need all the answers right now.
Maybe some things are better left a mystery.
Yeah, sometimes the journey is more important than the destination.
Like that.
So what do we do now?
I think we learn from this.
Yeah.
We keep an open mind. Remember, there's a lot we still don't know.
About the world, about Vietnam, about these creatures.
It's exciting, isn't it?
It really is. It's a good reminder to keep exploring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that saying, you know, absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence.
Right, exactly.
Just because we haven't found, like, you know, a rock ape skeleton.
Right.
Doesn't mean they're not out there.
Exactly. It just means we haven't found it yet.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to look in a different way.
Yeah.
Our methods might not be right for this, you know.
Like maybe instead of just focusing on, like, expeditions and trying to find bones or whatever.
Yeah.
We need to look at, like, local knowledge. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Folklore.
Yeah.
The stories people tell.
Yeah, those communities, they know their environment.
Right.
They have a different kind of knowledge, you know?
Yeah. And we might be missing something important by not listening to that.
Totally.
It's like we're so focused on the science part of it.
Yeah.
That we forget about the human element.
Human element, yeah. I think combining those two, that's where the real breakthroughs happen.
Yeah, getting scientists and historians and anthropologists all talking to each other.
Yeah, talking to the people who actually live there, you know?
Exactly.
That's a whole different perspective.
It's really cool to think about, like, maybe there are all these species out there.
Yeah.
That we haven't discovered yet, just hiding in plain sight.
It's exciting, right?
It's super exciting.
The world is full of surprises still.
It really is.
And that's what I love about this whole field, cryptozoology.
Yeah, it keeps you guessing.
It pushes us to the edge of what we know, makes us question everything.
And embrace the unknown.
Exactly.
So for our listeners who are now obsessed with rock apes,
oh, yeah.
where should they go to learn more?
Oh, there's some great stuff online, like websites with first-hand accounts from soldiers and researchers. They even have analysis and discussions. It's really cool.
But always good to be careful with those sources, right?
Wow, absolutely.
Think critically.
Yeah, just because it's online doesn't mean it's true.
Exactly. Yeah.
Use your head.
And maybe check out some scientific papers too, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Learn about primates, see if anything matches up.
Exactly.
Well, this has been a wild ride, talking about rock apes.
I know, it's a fascinating story.
We've got these eyewitness accounts, possible explanations.
And a whole lot of mystery.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder what's out there.
It really does.
So, for everyone listening, what do you think?
Are the rock apes real?
Are these just a myth?
Or something in between?
We want to hear your thoughts.
Until next time, keep exploring the unexplained.
And remember, the most fascinating journeys are the ones that lead us into the unknown.
Thank you for joining CMF Conspiracies podcast. What do you think about the topic we covered today? Comment below with your thoughts on this subject. If you have a conspiracy you wish for us to deep dive into, please send your topic to our email address or leave it in the comments. Thank you again for watching. Like and subscribe for more content like this.